What's good, guys? Welcome to another episode of No Capes Required. I'm Scott Meredith, he's Doug Gardner, and we are here for our 10th episode. Yes, that's right. We have just enough for you guys to binge watch if you want to.
Yeah.
Starting our own little, Netflix binge watching if you want. We're not on Netflix, but you know what I mean.
We will be, though.
Hey, that's a bold prediction. But hey, who knows? Dreams can come true. But last week before Endgame, so let's just dive on in. So the final trailer for Dark Phoenix has come out basically like the weekend, before Endgame. Seems like a weird time to release it, but hey,
do what you do.
I guess so. So, we saw a couple new scenes. This movie comes out in June. Obviously, I don't know how many people saw it because everybody's just obviously so focused on Avengers, but what did you think of the final trailer?
It didn't do much more than the other trailers did for me. It was kind of just putting like the icing on the cake. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't too much new stuff. I did kind of notice in this one how they focus more on, I guess, Jean's mind state, kind of with the Phoenix Force being integrated within her psychosis. I'm not sure, this is kind of a personal opinion right here, I'm not sure if this X-Men movie will be a standout. I kind of think it will do the same it did for Apocalypse, as it did for Apocalypse, which was like, it was cool, it wasn't a bad movie, but I definitely won't remember it as a key movie within a couple years. But I am interested to see because how we were talking before the show about the entity of the Phoenix Force being represented by,
Jessica Chastain.
Being represented by Jessica. I want to see how that kind of progresses throughout the movie. I want to see how they use Jean Grey's morale at the beginning, and if we see a progression of corruption throughout the movie.
We didn't really get too much info, more than I'd already gotten about the other trailers. We see Jean Grey, actually all the X-Men, they're on a space mission, then obviously something goes wrong where she absorbs this energy, and she survives. Mystique is surprised that she survives, as anybody would be, out in space and everything, and obviously that awakened the Phoenix. And it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we see that initially, Mystique is trying to help her, and it seems like they almost point to her death, by the Phoenix, or they're at least trying to set it up that way.
Yeah.
But it also seems a little bit too obvious that would happen.
Obvious.
So I'm not sure necessarily Mystique is going to be the one that dies. And you had brought this up before. You think it could unfortunately be Quicksilver?
Man, it would be a major plot twist if it was Quicksilver is the one that dies. I think you're right. That it's too obvious for Mystique to be killed, how they're portraying it in the trailers. I think they just did that to kind of throw you off, and then they'll be like, haha, gotcha. It's actually this person who dies. But it would be a major plot twist if Quicksilver dies. They'd be killing off their comedic relief.
Yeah, I'd be mad, honestly.
I would be too, but it would get the feels.
My favorite character in this series.
Right. But it would get the feels going. You know what I'm saying? It would be like, dang, you'll feel something. You know what I'm saying? Especially this being rumored to be the last of the X-Men.
Yeah, the Fox movies, I guess. Yeah.
That would be an interesting way to go out, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess because, obviously now Marvel has the rights, and maybe they're going to be starting up their own X-Men in a few years.
Which, to be cool.
Yeah, definitely. But, it's going to be interesting how they, what the future, I guess, of this movie holds. And I don't know, the way that they're setting this up, it really seems like, Cyclops is obviously trying to help Jean Grey throughout the movie, but the rest of the X-Men, it almost seems like after whoever dies, they're like, well, I don't know about this. I don't think, Jean Grey is in there anymore. I think it's just the Phoenix. So obviously we see Magneto's trying to kill her off and everything.
Which is completely understandable. The Phoenix Force is unrivaled power that spans across multiple multiverses. So, shoot, I don't even know if I said that right. Edit point, cut. Yeah. Spans across the multiverse. So, I think that people kind of being scared of Jean having this power that goes beyond Omega level mutants, I think it's understandable for them to feel like, well, is Jean in there? Because if she's not, then we just have this force that could potentially destroy everything running around here freely.
Yeah, and I think that was ultimately what the decision of like the X-Men Last Stand, which I wasn't really a fan of, and I hope that this movie portrays the Phoenix better.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it ended with Wolverine realizing like, okay, I just gotta kill her,
go.
because she's just out of control. But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I'm hopeful for this movie. The trailers have looked pretty good so far. I mean, so yeah, they have good actors, but. Yeah, I'm just hopefully, if this is the X-Men's last dance, no pun intended or pun intended, I hope they go out with a bang.
Right.
So if you'll remember in episode 3 of No Capes Required, we talked about Jump Force. And we also mentioned that there would be 9 DLC characters coming to Jump Force eventually. And this weekend, or this past week, those characters have been revealed officially. There was actually some leaks on the characters before, but now Bandai Namco has officially released the list. So, who are the 9 characters coming to Jump Force?
Let us know.
We got Bakugo, Grimmjow, Hitsugaya, Law, Madara Uchiha, Majin Buu, Bisky, All Might, and last but certainly not least, Seto Kaiba. So those are the 9 characters coming to Jump Force.
Yeah.
What is your reaction?
I'm not mad at the list. I'm not mad at any of those characters. I'm actually very excited for Law. I'm excited for Seto Kaiba. These are some characters that are kind of, they should have been, I think, within the main core of the start of the. I think these characters should have been in the main core of the first rollout of characters.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really excited for All Might. I'm really excited to see what kind of movesets they give him. I'm a little concerned about Kaiba. I want to see how his moveset differs from
Yugi's?
Yami.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see, how like Super Smash Bros used to kind of carry over different movesets for their characters.
Yeah.
I want to see if they give them their own personality within this game.
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, Kaiba, I think you bring some personality that's different than Yugi's, definitely.
Well, of course, like getting down to like, I just want to see, will his movesets be different?
Yeah,
will it
for
be a
sure.
similar variation of the first one?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, the thing about Yu-Gi-Oh, though, like, I think even though obviously they're both going to be fighting with, their monster cards and everything like that, but, he has the Blue Eyes White Dragon, Yugi has the Dark Magician. I mean, they both have, looks like God cards for their ultimate attacks. But, I mean, at least it looks pretty cool. I mean, so we got to actually see the Kaiba and All Might reveal trailers. It seems like they're going to be the first DLC characters available coming out in May. So we got to see their trailers. We got to see Kaiba using Blue Eyes White Dragon, as well as like Obelisk the Tormentor, 2 of my favorite monsters back when I was a kid. Watching Yu-Gi-Oh. And with All Might, he seems to do all of his moves, all of his smash moves. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too mad about the list, but I will say it probably wasn't as good as I hoped for, only because, first off, we had mentioned last time with Jump Force that there were 6 characters represented among not just One Piece, but Dragon Ball and Naruto, making up like 18 characters. So now they add each of those 3 series gets an extra character to make out 7 of them. Do we need that many characters, like I just said, sort of like in episode 3?
From the same series, I don't think so, but there are a lot of likable characters from these. Like,
yeah, for sure.
None of these characters, except for what's her name, Biscuit.
Bisky, yeah.
Biscuit. Except for Bisky, are notable characters from the show, and not to say she's not a notable character. I'm just saying there's probably more prominent characters they could have put in before her. I would have liked to see a lot more variation from different animes, though. Because there's a lot of anime characters just aren't in this game. Again, we were talking before the show.
Yeah, that's the thing. All the 9 DLC characters aren't from they didn't add any new anime to the game.
No.
They were already, the anime, I guess, that these characters are from were already represented in this game. So
Yeah.
I think, some fans are going to be like, well, if your favorite anime isn't being represented, you're like, well, what the heck? You just added more characters from the same anime that were already in the game. And I definitely get that. And look, I also, even though Bisky, I was clamoring for more female representation, but I don't know if Bisky was the right choice for adding female characters.
I would have taken Sakura before Bisky, and that's not to say Sakura is stronger than Bisky. It's just Sakura's a more character.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. It depends. They're both strong, but
it's debatable. Sakura is situational. She has moves. She decides when or not to use. It's a whole other topic.
Exactly.
Not going to do it. All I'm saying is, Bisky, for notable characters and for female representation, I think there are more notable characters that they could have chose before her.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I just feel like if you were going to add more characters from the 3 main series, I would have preferred them to be female characters.
Yeah.
Instead of Majin Buu, add Android 18, add Tsunade, add even Nami if you need to. But I mean, it's just I don't know if we needed to add, 3 characters from that series and then 1 female character that nobody was really clamoring for it to just fill out your representation.
And my overall feeling of Jump Force, actually, if I just slide this in right quick, is Jump Force is a good game. I don't want to portray it like it's a bad game in any sense, because there's a lot of games that I would not take before this, especially fighting games. But I feel like this game should have been is more of a diagram of what they should have had a couple years ago. And I think this game, as I said in previous episodes, is a good layout and formula that they can take and kind of tinker and come back next year or a couple years down the line and give us a great game. Because right now, my basis for anime fighting games is the Storm series, and the most recent ones I think was the one with boards, so I don't remember the name, but the one that came out a couple years ago. That's my base of fighting anime games, and I don't even think this is touching that yet. But I think this is a great start for Jump Force from where they were in J-Stars.
Yeah, no, and I think that this game, I think why people are, a little bit negative on this is just because, not that it's necessarily bad, but it's fallen short of their expectations.
Right.
I think going into this, we thought that this would be really Anime Super Smash Brothers, and it would kind of rival that.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure.
Too high.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And I will agree, it didn't meet maybe the highest expectations. But look, maybe this is just a start. Maybe we're gonna get a Jump Force 2 with more characters, more series represented, more female characters represented. And maybe they'll learn from what fans are saying now and have a problem with, and add it to the next game. Guys, we are only days away from possibly the biggest superhero movie of our lifetime. Really, coming out.
Than that.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, maybe biggest superhero movie ever. Coming out. So yeah, exactly. And so what better way to prepare for Avengers Endgame than to give some last minute predictions? Obviously, I know all of you guys who are watching this probably have had your own predictions for months. And so me and Doug will join the party and give our own last minute predictions before the movie premieres. So Doug,
okay,
what are you predicting?
I got a couple. I don't have too many. I just wanted to kind of highlight my main ones.
Okay.
The first one is the deaths that are going to happen in this movie.
Uh-oh.
Now, we all know that Thanos used to snap and all those people disappeared, dispersed into ashes. Yeah, they all died. Those don't count as deaths. Those don't count as deaths. We never really saw sort of a character get pushed into that corner like that, on the brink of death like that, and is fighting back and can't do anything. I need more of that. So, my prediction, Captain America's going to die.
Okay.
I think Captain
That's
America,
a lot. That is a prediction that a lot of people think is going to happen.
I think Cap is going to bite the dust, and I think it's a good kind of farewell to the character, because I think you had told me that that's Chris's last movie.
Yeah, Chris Evans' last movie either he's going to retire or he's going to get killed off. So one of the two is going to happen.
I think that would be a great plot point because he is the leader. He's the morale, like the backbone of the Avengers. Kind of like the person that everyone turns to when they need a look of hope. Cap is that guy that tells everybody, let's go, let's keep doing this, Avengers, move forward. So I think him dying would definitely set off a set of events for the Avengers that I think would overall enhance the movie. And then my second prediction.
Okay.
I think the Living Tribunal is going to play a part in this movie.
Living Tribunal. Okay, so some fans might not know. So would you care to explain who the Living Tribunal is?
Living Tribunal basically keeps the balance within the multiverse. He makes sure all like checks and balances are being met. He makes sure that all the other cosmic entities are kind of acting in according of their role. He's that guy. He's balanced. He has three faces. They all argue against each other, until they come to agreement is when they finally give their conclusion on a situation. So, Living Tribunal, he's probably one of, if not top 5 strongest cosmic entities. If not, he might be like top 3. Yeah, he controls basically everything. He can do everything. And this movie, they're going to be messing with time. They're going to be messing with a lot of paradoxes. Like, I can see the Living Tribunal have to take a step.
So my predictions, I've got a few of them, but let me start out with a prediction. So remember how in the last, Infinity War, just revisiting the last movie, Hulk wasn't really in that much.
Yeah,
and definitely, so he came out to fight Thanos, got knocked out, get a 2-piece, and he really didn't, even though Bruce was asking for him to show up in the movie, he was just like, no.
Looked real scared.
Yeah, it seems like his confidence was shaken after losing that bout with Thanos. So I have to think that he is going to have to make a bigger impact in this movie, which is why I feel like, so also in Infinity War, remember how when Thor came to Wakanda, everybody was hyped, he made a grand entrance. I feel like Hulk is going to do something similar to that. I feel like he is going to come back with a vengeance. I feel like we could see Worldbreaker Hulk in terms of like him at his strongest.
Yeah.
And I think really him and Bruce Banner, whether it is Worldbreaker Hulk or not, I'm hoping, but back in the comics, that's sort of like his strongest form, I guess, if you want to call it. But he is going to, I think what's going to happen is Bruce Banner and the Hulk are going to have sort of like a heart-to-heart chat, and basically, Bruce Banner's going to like, look, dude, I need you.
Like, yeah.
The world needs you, the universe needs
right.
you. And then, they're going to come to a consensus, and, he's going to arrive in style. So that's one of my predictions. The other prediction is about the box office. So I know we've been talking a lot about how much money is this movie going to make? Is it going to be top 3 all time? Is it going to be number 1 all time? I'm going to say it after doing a lot of thinking about this. I think it is going to break the all-time record for box office. Like, I think Avatar's days could be numbered. Like,
I think it's going to be easy too.
Easy?
I think it might be easy for this movie. Like, you know how much hype is surrounding this movie? Like,
no, it broke the record for pre-sale online tickets in the first 6 hours.
6 hours!
So, I mean, and obviously we were talking about the opening weekend with that, but I just feel like the hype that this movie is getting, it seems like everybody, and I mean everybody, who's not even a superhero fan, who's not even that huge of a Marvel fan, is going to want to see this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's generating that type of hype, that type of buzz. It's just like anybody who's anybody is just going to want to see this movie.
Just the top of pop culture right now.
Exactly. So for me, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm saying that it breaks the all-time record.
I mean, you want to know how I know this is big?
Yeah.
I'm hearing hip-hop blogs, I'm hearing like old rappers talk about Avengers. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, this is how you know this transcends just like your generation. This goes into multiple different generations. Like, that's why I say I think this might be an easy like world record breaking moment. I don't think this will be hard for Avengers in here.
So last movie, I correctly predicted that even though Captain Marvel wouldn't be in the movie, there would be a reference to her at the end credit scene, and there was. I am also predicting that there is a reference to one of the biggest Marvel villains ever, Galactus. I feel like, once Thanos, and look, I don't think Thanos is going to survive this movie. I feel like once he is done, Galactus will they will set him up as like the next big threat that whoever survives this movie will have to overcome. And I think they're gonna just sort of plot that as like sort of the next big Marvel villain for the MCU, and probably the next time that the heroes like all join together, whether it's an Avengers movie or not. And it's once again time for one of our favorite segments, Twitter question of the week. So as always, let's revisit last week's Twitter question of the week, which was, in honor of National Pet Day, which of these awesome super pets would you most want to adopt? And the choices were Crypto, Goose, Ace the Bat Hound, and Lockheed. And this was our most voted poll yet, and it was also our most one-sided poll yet, which is just a little bit surprising. So, with 87% of the vote, the winner is Goose. In second was Crypto with 7% of the vote. In third was Lockheed with 4% of the vote, and in fourth was Ace the Bat Hound with 2% of the vote.
What happened, y'all? What happened? His name is Ace.
And he only got 2% of the vote?
His name is Ace. Like, go ahead.
No, I mean, look. I mean, Captain Marvel, I predicted this.
It just came out. No one knew what a goose was before this.
No, that's true. But look, the Captain Marvel fans really, they awakened, they showed up for this poll, and, I appreciate it. Like I said, this was our most voted poll yet, and obviously, most of the people voting must have been Captain Marvel fans. And look, I can't blame them. I mean, fan base shows up. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean, but I was surprised that it was this one-sided. And
that shows me how much people like Captain Marvel, too.
Yeah.
So...
No, definitely.
I don't agree with it, but hey, it's whatever.
This week's Twitter question of the week is, which of these two highly touted superhero trilogies is best? And we are talking about the Dark Knight trilogy and the Captain America trilogy. Only two options, but they're both very, very good options. So this is already sparking a lot of debate. Who are you going with here?
This is the hard one. Everybody knows.
This might be the toughest one to me.
First of all, everyone knows my Batman bias.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with this.
That means it's really like they're both really good.
I can't really tell because like Batman Begins was a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Dark Knight, we all know that was
amazing. Yeah.
But the third Batman,
Dark Knight
Rises, it wasn't the best. You know what I'm saying?
I liked it, but yeah.
Out of the three, do you think that was the least like their last one? Was that the third one, or would you put it over Batman Begins, knowing that Dark Knight is number one?
The thing is, Batman Begins had Dark Knight Rises had one of the best all-time endings. Like if you haven't seen Dark Knight Rises, go watch it. But it had really just one of the best all-time endings in movies. So the fact that, and also not to mention, Anne Hathaway's character, her portrayal of Catwoman was amazing. So there was a lot I really liked about Dark Knight Rises. So I would probably put it, even though I loved Batman Begins as well, I would probably put it above Batman Begins. But this is why it's such a tough.
Yeah.
This is why it's such a tough argument for me. These are probably my two favorite superhero trilogies ever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because the Captain America, other than the first one, the first Avenger, I'll give that. I'll put that one as my third, and I'll put Civil War as my first, and Winter's.
They're both really they're both great.
I can't really tell. Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say that Heath Ledger, the legend, gave us a spectacular performance representation of the Joker, probably the best one we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to the Batman series.
Yeah, but it's close.
It's very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Look, there's a lot to break down here, and probably too much for time to, we could really talk about this for days.
Yeah.
But they're both really close, because the thing is, all of these 6 movies, I feel like were good. Like, I don't feel like there was a bad movie among any of these 6.
It's not like Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm really struggling. So I think Dark Knight is probably the best movie out of all 6. But at the same time, I would argue that Winter Soldier and Civil War are better than both of the other 2 Batman movies.
Yes.
So it's really close, man. Like,
you can really go either way.
Yeah. So for the sake of arguments, you know, I can't really choose. For me, it's really like a tie. I'll just say Captain America because you picked Batman.
Just for the sake.
Yeah, just for the sake of it.
Let us know your thoughts in the comment section as well. We want to hear what you're thinking because this is too close of a race just to make put a poll on. You know what I'm saying? Just let us know. We want to go back and forth with you guys.
Yeah, the character portrayals were both amazing by both of those guys.
Brilliantly
so
done.
Definitely, and yeah, the directing, everything. So enough said about that.
Right.
But yeah, go vote at Zero Capes Required. Also, you know, go follow that, and also follow at Fly to the Sky 11. But, you know, that's going to do it for our show. This is the last one before Endgame. We don't necessarily know what we're going to do for the next show, whether it's going to be its own separate video just talking about the movie, or if we're just going to go with episode 11. We don't know yet, but you'll obviously know like the next time that we post a video. So stay tuned for that.